What up, Laker Nation? It's your boy DTLF back with another post-game recap as the Lakers defeat the Detroit Pistons in double overtime, 135 to 129. Yes, you heard it right. We gave up 129 points to the Detroit Pistons with no Blake Griffin and no Derrick Rose. Mind you, they have the worst record in the league as it stands right now. Um, Very disappointing. Yes, we won, and I'm happy about it. Don't get me twisted. Diehard Laker fan, always happy we win. But the way we won, guys, it almost felt like we didn't deserve to win. The Pistons out hustled us. They turned us over way too many times. We settled for jump shots. We wind the clock down and just played a passive brand of basketball. I was not happy about that. But anytime you give 129 points up to the Detroit Pistons with no Blake Griffin, mind you, and no Derrick Rose was heavy in trade rumors, I'm going to light a fire under their ass, man. I'm not happy with these Lakers. They have to improve, and they have to improve now. I told you guys during pregame, we don't take any opponent seriously. Especially when we play lower competition, we play down to the competition. Or as me and my boy Q always like to say, playing with your food. The Lakers played with their food, and they almost got bit. They almost got burnt. You can't do that, man. You're in the NBA. Every night you have to respect the opposition. Yes, it's the Pistons with a horrible record, right? It's the Pistons with the horrible record. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to show up this game, and everybody shows up for the Lakers. We gave up 30-plus points to Jerry Grant or Jeremy Grant, whatever his name is. Bruh, Lakers got to improve in the paint. Everybody's walking through us, man. Appreciate you, young elder. He says Gaslow has to go. I don't know if he has to go, but we do need an improvement in the paint because, like I said, everybody's coming in here, man. We had Jeremy Grant coming up in here looking like Kevin Durant. A win is a win. I'm happy about it. Don't get it twisted. But I gotta trash the Lakers a little bit because they did not want to show up today. They settled. We forced LeBron to play almost 50 damn minutes. Bruh, that's a problem. That's a recipe for disaster in the long term. It might not look as bad now, but just wait. Just wait. If he continues to play this amount of minutes, anything's possible, guys. I don't want to jinx it or nothing, but I'm telling you right now, we have to keep his minutes down. I was disappointed with coach's decision-making. I felt like he left KCP out there way too long. I thought THT and Kuz were hooping. He didn't swap him back in the game till like the second overtime. We needed LeBron James to play like an MVP again tonight just to beat the Pistons. That's not good. That's not good at all. I'm not happy about that at all, guys. Bottom line is the Lakers, they got a lot of improving to do. And it shouldn't have to take double overtime to beat the Pistons with no Derrick Rose and no Blake Griffin. That is that's a lot disappointing. My brother was out here on suicide watch texting me, talking about he wants to break his phone. I'm like, bruh, I get it. It's frustrating. I was just as frustrated watching it. And I'm usually very patient, but I'm like, this game is feeling extremely long. Imagine how it felt for LeBron to play in it. He literally had to dagger the Pistons in order for us to win. That is not acceptable. Moves have to be made. An acquisition of a big man has to be made because, again, everybody's coming in here night in and night out, and they're just walking to the paint, basically. And Anthony Davis, he had 30 points, but it was not an impressive 30 points. He settled way too much, I thought, down the stretch. The refs were trash, but they're trash every other day, Tommy. Sorry. Brittany said the Lakers are not as good as last year, sadly. We are missing our veterans. Ooh, I don't want to concede that just yet, Brittany. I don't want to concede that. If anything, I feel like the Lakers are coasting through the season because they don't want to get injured. Or maybe they're coasting through the season because it's a long season and we had a short turnaround. I don't know what the reason is. I don't know why, but they are lacking some serious motivation. You see the Lakers play in spurts and they take time off. Like, during the game, the Lakers turn off the TV. They turn off the switch before it's time. And that's a problem. You can't do that. You got to close. You got to, in the words of my good friend, you got to put your foot on their neck and finish them off. You got to, man. You're a championship team. You got to make sure you execute. Execute down the stretch. 23 turnovers, 24 turnovers is way too much for a defending championship team, especially to the Detroit Pistons. Now, I'll give them credit. They played their heart out. The Pistons did. So you always have to give them credit. You can't disrespect any opponent. It is the NBA. I told you guys, if you guys didn't watch my pregame, go back and watch it. You're gonna think my name's Nostradamus because I called it. I said we cannot treat this team like they're a 5-win team. We have to come out here and treat this team like they're a contender. We got to put them away early, get LeBron some rest. What do the Lakers do? The complete opposite. They come out here, play with their food, mess around. We gave up a 17-point lead like this. We let the Detroit Pistons, let this sink in really quick. So those of you that think I'm overreacting, we let the Detroit Pistons, no Derrick Rose, no Blake Griffin, arguably two of their top 3 best players. You could say Jeremy Grant is the other one. We let them take us to double overtime and score 129 points on the defending champs. We have, by the way, mind you, we have both LeBron and AD, both of our superstars. Mind you, they have a 5-win record, 18 losses with tonight's loss. Wow, that is very disappointing. I don't care. We deserve to lose tonight the way we played. We just won based off of sheer talent and because the MVP of the season, which is LeBron James, decided to ball out down the stretch. But if not for him, who knows? AD was settling too much. Players were looking complacent, like they didn't want to take the big shots. We were letting the shot clock wind down, like Stu Lance said during the game. It's a recipe for disaster unless you can make the shot. Jameson, appreciate you, bro. He said, really ticked off with this horrible performance, up by 17 late in the third, and we had to go to double overtime. Me too, Jameson. Mutually agree with you, my friend. It's very unfortunate. People don't see what this does, but this is risking LeBron's health. That's what people don't understand. He's 36. Do you guys remember what happened to Kobe at 34? I think it was 34. It was either 33 or 34. He tore his Achilles because of all the mileage he was putting on his body thanks to Mike Dumb Tony. And unfortunately, he tore his Achilles, man. The signs were there. LeBron looked hella tired tonight. We should have put this game away early, man. I don't want to risk any sort of injury. He's like Brittany says, she can see it. Bron is playing way too many minutes. That's a recipe for disaster. It really is. And the whole goal of this game was when you get an easier team, you have to make sure that you put them away early. Hey, what's up, Denver Nuggets, baby? He says, sub DTLF, y'all got the win. But, man, I was surprised that the game went to overtime. LeBron is showing us why he should be the MVP. He said, Dan, I wish Mason Plumlee and Jeremy Grant signed with the Lakers. Much love, bro. Yeah, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. A good one got away. Jeremy Grant was legit. He was on my top list for recruits as far as recruiting players this offseason for the Lakers. I thought he would have been a perfect fit, but we didn't go that route, and I'm okay with it. But I'm going to tell you this, and thank you, hey, that one American dude who watches AFL. Appreciate you, man. Look, he got his Twitter out here. I think it's his Twitter, right? Shout out to him for that. Thank you for the donation, brother. This is the thing. Again, I'm not concerned about the win. Obviously, the Lakers were most likely going to win this one. But had we been playing a better team, we would have lost tonight. Here's the thing. We're clearly the better team. That's not the issue. You know what I'm saying? The issue is that the Lakers play down to the competition. That's my problem. That's why I'm out here ranting a little bit. I'm not too mad because obviously we won, but I am upset at the way we won. We're risking LeBron's health. We're out here looking like fish food. You know what I'm saying? For the rest of the league, everybody's like, oh, man, I can't wait to face the Lakers next. We're going to eat. Look, if the Pistons could drop 129 and they're walking all over the paint, you know what I'm saying, that we're going to come up in here and basically do the moonwalk in the paint. They could score backwards, man, the way they were playing. By the way, he said, Dan, no way we let Josh Jackson score 28 points. Exactly. It's always the no-name players. By the way, shout out to Josh Jackson, Kansas Jayhawk. He was one of my favorite college players back then. And I actually think that the Phoenix Suns are horrible at developing young talent because every time they trade talent away, they end up playing better. But, he was one of my top recruits when I was younger and doing scouting videos on him. I used to love him. So, I mean, he has a world of potential. He's a good defensive player. He's a good slasher. And if that jump shot starts falling, he could turn himself into a heck of a player. So shout out to him for this game tonight. But he shouldn't have dropped 28 on the Lakers, bro. That's embarrassing because he hasn't made a name for himself. But it's like I'm telling you, right now, everybody's eyes are just widening. They're widening. See, I always get that word wrong. They're widening. Everybody's eyeballs are just, every time they see the lane, it's like a bucket. Let's go get an easy bucket down the paint. Marc Gasol is a shell of himself at this point. Anthony Davis is not the same as last year at this point. So that's unfortunate. Jose, appreciate you, bro. He said, what up? Dan, do you think games like this will force Rob to make a move? I think so. I think we do have to be patient though, because like I said, as of right now, we don't even have a roster spot, so we'd have to trade somebody, and we got too many valuable assets to make a move and give up one of these good young pieces. So as of right now, I don't see any moves being made, but maybe when that roster spot opens up. So we have to be just a bit patient. But yeah, I think Rob's a shark, and he's going to move in for the kill as soon as he gets a chance. I wish the Lakers moved in for the kill when we got the chance tonight. Several times we dropped the ball over and over again. She said, AD satisfied with one ring. What do you think? I wouldn't go that far. Again, I don't know what's going on with the kid. He had a 30-point game today, so we can't really bash him tonight, but he's still settling. He could have had 50 tonight versus the Pistons, especially. Mason Plumlee shouldn't be able to hold you to 30, man. And the way he got his 30, he's a very efficient scorer, but he settles way too much. I need AD to use that whole repertoire he has in the paint, the drop step, the turnaround hook shots, the left hand, the right hand. Just go back to being last year's AD. Once he does that, it's going to open up the game for everybody else to get wide open shots. At one point, they had us clamped up because AD was settling. Even LeBron settled way too much in the fourth quarter, but in OT, he hit those shots, so you can't really complain about it. But honestly, I feel like we let these weaker teams off the hook by not putting pressure defensively on them. I mean, every time LeBron was coming down full head of steam, man, he's phenomenal. I don't know how the dude's still putting up 33 and 11 with 5 rebounds and 4 steals. Bro, if that ain't MVP, I don't want to even look at the trophy. I don't even care about the trophy if that ain't the MVP. My man said AD not risking it until the playoffs. I don't know, man. I'm not going to make excuses for him, but I don't like what I'm seeing out of him. But I still support him, obviously. We need bro to play better, though. As far as THT, I thought he was great. He made a couple mistakes there at the end, and he got yanked for it. Kuzma was phenomenal up until he got subbed out, and then he came back way too late. But all in all, like, we're too deep to be struggling like this, man. It really bothers me. It really bothers me because if we continue to struggle like this, everybody's scouting report is out on the Lakers. They have 0 rim protection, man. 0. Appreciate you, Bay. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for the donation, brother. The scouting report's out, and you can see clearly. I've been telling you guys for games already. Without that, without that rim protection, everybody's eyes just widen. I mean, I'll probably get a couple of buckets. Even right now, Pandemic Dan would probably go in there and get buckets versus the Lakers right now. That's how weak we looking right now. And yes, I'm being sarcastic, but dang, like Marc Gasol is even getting frustrated because I think he's starting to realize that he's not the same player he used to be. He wants to be. You can tell the effort is there, but he's too flat-footed. He's getting called for these fouls. His jumper isn't falling consistently enough to offset the defensive woes, and as a result, he's becoming like a liability. It's almost like playing 5-on-4 on a defensive end in the starting lineup. So, man. He said, Dan, you're telling me we went to double OT and the Pistons didn't have Blake Griffin or Derrick Rose? That's what I'm telling you, bro. Who would have thought, right? Coming into the game, we said, if the Lakers take care of business, we'll rest LeBron. My guy almost played 50. Maybe he did play 50. I have to double check that. But, yeah, my man played way too many minutes, bro. Jameson, thank you, bro. Appreciate the donations always. He said, too many empty possessions down the stretch of the game, too many settled jumpers, and not going to the rim. That's what I'm saying. But a lot of it is because is exactly what I tell you. The Lakers play with their food. We allow this team to get back in the game. Now their confidence is off the roof. Man, now you had Jeremy Grant hitting some crazy layups, and we know the kid is super talented. But my man was hitting some left-handed fadeaway teardrop, spin move jump shot layups. It's like, bro, you're not that nice. You ain't KD. But tonight he looked like it, right? But that's again the lack of paint protection. And like Brittany says, we're not the same because we're lacking majorly in that area. Everybody's coming in here doing Michael Jackson moonwalk, man, laying the ball up backwards and stuff. We can't have that. We need to get some intimidators down there. So, we need some people that's going to lay down the law, get a couple of block shots, and it just makes everything easier defensively. Now you got teams settling for, contested jump shots instead of getting to the rim. And now you have everybody scrambling to come help on defense. And now you get the wide open 3-point shooters. All bad. All bad. He said, Dan, Would you take Carl Anthony Towns on the trade? He said, do you think he can he can help our interior? There's no way they're going to trade their franchise big, even though he's been injury plagued, for anything we have to offer outside of AD or LeBron. If he was up for grabs, of course I snatch him up quickly. But we have to be real, man. That's not a realistic name. Is it trade Kuz and Gasol for Drummond? That's way too much. I don't know. Swerve Goat. I don't know if you noticed, but rumor has it that the Cavaliers can only expect 1 or 2 second-round picks. Kuz is worth more than that. Kuz could easily get you like a mid to early first-round pick if you were to trade him. Not saying I want to trade him. Heck no. He's balling out, man. Are you watching the game? And then Marc Gasol, I mean, I'd love to go 1-for-1, but they're not going to do that. Again, it has to make sense for both sides. I promise you, anybody out here trying to make a trade with the Lakers, first player they're going to ask for, THT. And we're going to have to somehow say, yo, he's off the block. Who else do you want? And teams might be like, call me back when he's on the block. Because that's the way they be hating on us, bro. Unfortunately. He said, Lakers need a big man like Miles Turner. Oh, man, he would be heaven sent. Yo, he would be amazing. He'll be like bread and water in the middle of the desert, like Rob said. That's what he would be like. He said, Kuzma is worth a first-rounder for sure. Absolutely. He might be worth more. He might be worth a first and a second the way he's hooping. He said, nah, THT's untouchable. I'm saying. So the best route for the Lakers to take is not via trade. Is to be patient, allow that roster spot to open up, allow the buyout market to open up, and bam, go in for the kill, get a steal. You do the same thing Rob Pelinka did last year with Markieff Morris. You know, the same thing he did, he has to do with a big man this year. And I'm sure he's going to do it. He said, hey, Dan, what do you think about Nerlens Noel? At this point, I'll take him. Noel would be amazing compared to Marc Gasol at this point. But is he my top option? No. Some people have said Robin Lopez might become available. I don't know. Not a huge fan of the Lopez brothers. Brook Lopez played really soft when he came to the Lakers, and he could score. Imagine Robin. Robin can't stretch the floor or nothing. So, I don't know, man. He said Cavs are going to buy out JaVale, but we can't get JaVale. If they buy out JaVale McGee, we can't get him due to the trade rules, unfortunately. So, we're better off if they buy out one of the other two, which I doubt they're going to do because they're too talented. They're probably going to ask for somebody in a trade. So, I'd look the other way, man. It's going to be tough, but look the other way. Brooklyn might end up with Drummond, and if that happens, then we might have to hit the market for a legit big man, like legit. Because look, we're finding out that Anthony Davis is definitely not a center. He could play there, spare minutes here and there, but he's not a center as far as just manning the paint. He can't do that for 48 minutes. Definitely cannot. He's going to need all of his energy for the offensive end. And defensively, he's a good weak side help defender, blocking shots from the weak side. That's where we need Anthony Davis. Now, last year it worked out so well because we had Dwight and JaVale both, swatting shots as the primary rim stoppers. And then whenever, they would, have to switch out or whatever, then you had AD as a secondary. So that's he's like a free safety. That's the best way to use AD because he has no pressure and he can just let his defensive instincts, which are great, kick in when he's playing really good, right? Said Dan, AD has made 4 threes in the last 11 games. He used to attempt 5 a game. Last year, SMH, AD isn't on Jokic or Embiid's level so far this season. Keyword so far this season. But so far, still an early sample size. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt because career-wise, he's above both of those players. I'll take a player's career over a quarter of a season. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I know I'm not an apologist. But I do support my players even when they struggle, especially when their track record speaks out for it. Now, if his track record didn't speak out for it and there was another player, I'd definitely throw him under the bus. And I'm like, hey, you got to get better or you might hit the trade block, but not AD. AD's a franchise player, and he's somebody who has helped bring a championship as a primary pillar, and he's only going to get better. I'm not too concerned. I'm a little concerned, but not too much. Brittany said, I heard Draymond said AD was out of shape. Well, Brittany, he didn't say specifically it was AD. He said it was a superstar he wasn't going to name, and it wasn't James Harden. So a lot of people are speculating that it was Anthony Davis. Could be. I don't know. But I'm not going to sit out here and just make excuses. He just got to play better, and hopefully he does. Now, I'll give him credit. Today, at least he got us a 30-piece. We can't complain too much. But I did think he could have easily had 40 to 50 if he would have been more aggressive towards the bucket, right? Now, to be fair, the Lakers aren't getting all these calls. They haven't been getting calls lately, right? A lot of these were fouls, like when he got the pass off of Dennis in overtime and he dunked it, and didn't call a foul when they clearly smacking him and whacking him. And then on the other end, they were calling fouls against him all late and everything. It's like, bruh, it's tough, but this is where his mentality has to get tougher. And don't worry about the refs. Worry about getting yours. He turned the ball over too much. He was complacent and he settled way too much for jumpers that usually fall when he's in rhythm. But tonight, late, down the stretch of the game, didn't really fall. Again, thank God for MVP Braun. Who knows where this team would be early with this slow start if it wasn't for MVP Braun. And that's why, hands down, I know it's early in the season and things could change, but the early quarter of the season, hands down, LeBron James is the MVP. And he's making a strong case for GOAT worldwide, because who do you know is hooping like this at 36? I'd never heard of such a thing. This man is actually getting better. Like some of those turnaround jump shots he didn't have earlier in his career. Some of these veteran savvy moves he does, he didn't have earlier in his career. So again, we're blessed that we have this type of talent right now. But King James really coming through for the Lakers. Without him, we'd be lost right now, straight up. I'm telling you, because AD hasn't really showed up consistently. Dennis Schroder, the last couple of games, he's been good. I say the last 3 games or so. We need that Dennis every night. If we didn't have his 22 that he gave up, and by the way, he was perfect from the free throw line and from the field. That's an efficient, good Dennis Schroder. I tweeted it out, and it came out as Hood Dennis Schroder, but actually, obviously, Twitter doesn't have an edit button, so I meant good Dennis Schroder. This version of Dennis, if he can sustain that, it makes this really hard to beat, like almost impossible to beat, because now you got LeBron James being consistent, you got Dennis being consistent, you got Trez being consistent, and AD, if he could start getting some consistency going, it's a wrap for the league. That's 4 consistent options just coming at you every single night. And the rest, THT, when he shows up, it's a wrap. The kid continues to impress me, man. Every single game. I know I say it every game, but tonight he was impressive again, man, with his slashing abilities and just his savvy defensive plays, the way he reads the passing lanes. Kid is so good, man. So good. LBJ23, appreciate you, boss. He said, need to focus on defense, will improve the middle. We need that big man, that consistent one, man. Because I would love to say start Trez, but unfortunately, Trez is 6'7". Yeah, we need a little bit more size in the paint. Tonight, we played that death lineup, by the way, that had done so well for the Lakers in the previous game. And they didn't do so hot tonight. But again, it started with the veteran leadership with the stars, letting the lead get away, AD and LeBron. When that happened, it's kind of infectious, right? We go as they go. If they struggle, we struggle. If they start settling, we settle. So the rest of everybody has to continue to keep up pace. And but I did like what I saw from THC and Kuz, especially early on in the game, and definitely Dennis Schroder. All 3 of those guys were X factors. Let's not forget the big shots by Alex Caruso, man. My guy continues to make big plays. Those are winning plays. King Vortex Gaming, appreciate you, boss. He said, is the GOAT Tom Brady going to get the 7th ring? One more than MJ? Man, you know what? My gut tells me yes, but my heart tells me no. Do you get that? Like, I want Mahomes to win because I'm a big fan of the kid. I like quarterbacks that can get out the pocket and have a strong arm like him, man. He reminds me of like Vince Young from the Texans. Like, he reminds me of like a bigger, stronger Michael Vick. But I do think that Tom Brady's his veteran leadership and just him being a 6-time champion might be a little too much. But we'll see again, because the Chiefs are no joke, man. The Chiefs are legit dangerous, and it's going to be a fun game. I'm looking forward to it, man. Who you got, though, bro? Thanks for the donation, by the way. Appreciate you. He said, how do the Pistons play y'all? Tough. Hold on. Here's the thing, bro. I'm not even going to get into that comment. Obviously, they play us tough because it's the NBA. Any given night, that's NBA talent. These guys were star players in their respective high schools and colleges. Nobody in the NBA is a joke, even if the record says otherwise. It's just that there's levels to this. However, these are what I call trap games. And if you didn't watch my pregame, you'll understand why I said we better not take this team lightly. Because these are the type of teams that no matter who's playing, whether it be Derrick Rose, Derrick Froze, Derrick Toes, whoever's out here playing, man, can turn into a superhero for the night and turn back the clock into his college days like Josh Jackson and come out here and bust your ass. And that's what happened. The Pistons gave it to us, man. That's what they did. Oh, you got the Bucks? All right, I see you, bro. I mean, well, best of luck, man. I don't root for any of these two teams, so may the best team win. But back to what I was saying, any given night, any player could step up and be a hero. And that's what happened. It's the NBA, the National Basketball Association. It's the best league in the world. That's why we love it. And tonight, again, Jeremy Grant has proven why he got that big contract. And Josh Jackson's proven that he has a lot of talent. And unfortunately, the Phoenix Suns didn't develop him properly. But they're not really good for developing unless they have a certified bucket getter like Booker or somebody like that that's a guaranteed beast, right? Some teams are better at developing young players, some aren't. Curtis Bell, hey, what's up, bro? He said we need Jared Allen or Drummond and we'll be good. Oh man, that's a lot to ask, bro. That's a lot to ask because let's keep it a $150, man. If we get either Jared Allen or Drummond, it's over, right? So I suspect that we won't get either of those players. Why? 2 reasons. Number one, the league hates us and they'll do anything to block that type of trade, including giving up extra pieces to entice the Cavaliers to trade with them. That's number one. Number two, Dan Gilbert hates LeBron James. We saw the first time he left, and he can never hide that. He's a two-faced hypocrite, and I doubt he makes any trade to help LeBron James to another chip. Adding either one of those two, you're right. Those two would fit in like a glove here with this Laker team because they don't really need extra possessions. Those are lob threats. They're rebounders. They're hustle guys. So, yeah, they would fit in like to a T. They'd be like Dwight Howard 2.0, but better. And so, unfortunately, I doubt we get either of those, but they would be nice, man. Let's hope for the best. So here's hoping for the best. Maybe King Rob Pelinka can pull off something out of his sleeve. Harry Houdini out here making magical moves. And let's see what happens. My man said, true. He said, I feel that. What about Vucevic? Ooh, Nicholas Vucevic is nice, man, from the Magic, right? I think we're talking about the same one. He's real nice, especially offensively. Now, he's more of an offensive player than a defensive player. He reminds me of like a younger version of Kevin Love, minus the passing, of course, but like offensively, Kevin Love during his Timberwolves days, that's the type of player he would be. If anything, he's a better rebounder right now. I'd love him, but I think the asking price there for Orlando, because they value him. Trust me, I've watched these segments and the way the commentators talk about him. They treat him like he's a star, even though he's not. I'd love him. What would you give up? That's the better question. What would you give up for a player like that? It's gonna have to start with THT. If you want that caliber of a big man, I promise you, the whole league, any phone call we get, they're gonna inquire about Talen Horton-Tucker. Without him included, I don't see a realistic package. I really don't. You'll probably end up giving up a lot to beat around the bush. That is Talen Horton-Tucker. But I mean, I love the question though. Just the prospect. That's somebody I didn't even think about. He said, Dan, would you give up Kuzma and Matthews for Vucevic? Only because we are seriously lacking in the front court. Not because I want to though. Because I love me some Kuz and he's been balling out, and I think we're gonna need him this season. But if it brings you somebody like Vucevic, that dude's no joke. That dude is no joke. He's very underrated because he's been playing with the Magic. But I promise you, man, if he was able to play with somebody like LeBron James, now you got a two-headed beast in the paint to play with. If you're King James, man, that's a little different, man. He said we just need a closer. Bron is being overworked. I do agree with you there. And AD is a closer. He's definitely gonna help us close more games. He did that last year. He proved it already. It's not like he can't, He said, can't get Vucevic for Kuz and THT. Even if it doesn't work money-wise, I'm just kind of telling you what type of framework of a deal they're going to ask. They're really going to ask for some serious talent in return. Like, it takes something good to get something good. He said, what about Hassan Whiteside? Is he a free agent? He is not currently a free agent. He's currently under contract with the Kings. But obviously, everybody's speculating that around the buyout market, he's going to be one of the names that gets bought out. Now, I'm not sure how realistic that is. Honestly, rumors sometimes never come to fruition. But I'm not holding my breath for him, man. Honestly, yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to get, somebody like that who's beefy and can come out here and block shots and, won't get bullied in the paint. Maybe he could add some sort of rim protection consistently. That's the key right there, consistently. Because we don't want to get somebody like Whiteside and then he comes in here and then he's averaging like 3-4 easy fouls in the first half. and now he's a non-factor for the rest of the game. We need somebody with some serious discipline that could come in, man the paint consistently, rarely gets into foul trouble, and can really spell some minutes for AD. That way he doesn't have to play that five. And can, AD, when there's no pressure on him playing the five and he can focus all of his energy into the offensive side, I think he's a much better offensive player. I really do. Part of the reason why I think he's been struggling, two reasons I'm going to mention. One, Rajon Rondo, his good friend, always got him involved off of pick and rolls, backdoor screen, lobs, all that good stuff. He misses him dearly. Trust me, we all do. We all know that obviously Dennis Schroder is more of a scoring type than Rondo. Rondo was more of a playmaking type point guard and who could score when his number was called in the playoffs. So, he surprised the world, but I already had seen playoff Rondo, so I knew about him. That's number one reason why AD is struggling, I think, offensively. On the defensive end, why is he struggling? Because with Marc Gasol struggling, now he becomes a major liability, and you have to cover for that. So you start getting exposed, ball movement and all that stuff, man. You're going to get banged on a couple of times if you're AD. I've seen him fall a lot in the paint. So he's not manning the paint because there's too much pressure on bro to man the paint. When there's no pressure and he's like a safety, he's out here just ball hawking, I think that's his best. I think that's when you get the best version of AD on both ends of the floor. Appreciate you, Bay 1980. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for a donation. He said, Dan, how would you feel if the Lakers and the Dodgers repeat? I'll probably get drunk again. Y'all remember? I was lit, bro. I'll probably I'd be happy, bro. You know I'm all about my LA teams. I would have loved it if the Rams would have did something, like made some noise, at least get to the Super Bowl. But unfortunately, we had Jared Goff, and so now we'll see what happens. The pressure is on the latest edition to see what's gonna happen. My bro said, fire. I was going to be sick if we lost to the Pistons, who have more losses than wins. We were all going to be sick. We would have went into Super Bowl Sunday feeling a little empty and hoping for a great game to pick our spirits back up. But thankfully, we pull off the victory. Oh, at the end of the day, a win is a win, right? It's a long season. I'd rather get an ugly win than an ugly loss. So I will commend them, especially King James and Alex Caruso, who hit some huge buckets down the stretch on this W, man. Kane's Garage. I like that name. Appreciate you, bro. He said, damn, what about that blatant no call on that foul against AD? That was horrible. Yeah, again, the officials were trash, especially in overtime. The officials have been trash with us for years, though. As a Laker fan, we're used to it. I mean, you can never really get used to it per se, but you kind of have come to learn to expect it. And that's the unfortunate part of being a Laker fan. It's almost as if the commissioner doesn't want the Lakers to win anymore. So they try to give us as many. I don't know what to think, honestly, because it's good for the NBA when there's a Lakers final, but it's also good for the NBA when a small market team like the Spurs or the Mavericks or any small market team wins a championship. So I don't know what to expect, man. I don't want to say it's rigged, but sometimes it feels that way being a Laker fan. And I know what other fan bases are thinking. They're probably like, oh, you guys are spoiled. You got 17 championships and you're always, talking smack. Nah, look, at the end of the day, as a diehard Laker fan who's been watching for 20 plus years, I'll tell you, man, it never feels fair. Think about it. In overtime, they challenged the play on Plumlee. Obviously his hand swung through and hit in LeBron's body. For anybody else, they're calling that a foul. Not for the Pistons tonight, though. The Lakers basically, they got that call overturned and they took away free throw opportunities. That was number one. That was very suspect. And there was many before that. Number two, they call a late foul on Anthony Davis on what looked like a clean block. Man, that wasn't a foul, but of course they're going to call it. It's the Lakers, right? So they call a foul. They give them 2 free throws. And then obviously at the end, Anthony Davis gets tapped or hit in the head. I didn't exactly see the replay. And what happened? We don't get the call, right? So we was going nuts out there. But I do commend them on, keeping their head on straight and finishing the game through contact, through the lack of officiating calls or whatever you want to call it. It is what it is, man. It's the Lakers. They hate us, bro. He said, did you see the Mavs versus Warriors ending? I didn't see it. However, the homie was over here. He's a diehard Steph Curry fan. So, he was out here teasing me about Curry going for 80. I'm like, never that, man. He's never going to eclipse Kobe. But It was an impressive game by Curry. Unfortunately, it came in a loss. So then I was teasing him about that. It's all good fun and banter between me and my friends, man. Yeah, Steph went off. Steph went off for sure. But I'd like to see Steph Curry do this versus like an elite team in the playoffs. And I know he did it, plenty of times in the past. But right now they're even struggling to. They're like a playoff bubble team right now. They're on the bubble of being like the 8th and 9th seed if they continue like this. I think their record is like 11 and 12 now. So again, this guy really wants to get blocked. There's no spamming over here, man. But again, Curry is an impressive shooter. I'm not really a Curry hater, man. The one player I hate is James Harden because of his floppery. But I respect talent. Look, Stephen Curry, very talented superstar. And I respect him. I mean, he did his thing tonight, so congratulations. But unfortunately, to me, what impresses me more is a dub. It would have been more impressive if he did it in a win. Because if we want to talk about stats, your boy Bradley Beal has been killing it for the Washington Wizards, and he ain't getting no dubs over there. So, yep. He said the Warriors versus the Lakers in the finals. The Lakers will win in 5. That's impossible. We can't get to the finals because we're both in the West, bro. But Western Conference Finals would be interesting. But again, unless Klay Thompson comes back and saves their season, because again, Klay Thompson masks a lot of the things they do defensively. I mean, let's be real. Curry's a great offensive weapon, but where I criticize him is defensively. He allowed Luka Doncic to drop 41 and 11 or 42 and 11 on him. So that 57 points doesn't look as great anymore in a loss because Luka got the better end, right? So at the end of the day, stats are fun and all, but I rather get wins. And whatever the team needs, now you can blame that on his teammates or whatever. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Brian B, appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you for the donation, my brother. All right, let's see what double overtime versus the Pistons, though. I mean, that's why I had to come down hard on the Lakers a little bit tonight. Brittany says, Dan, I think the Laker team is better than I think this Lakers team is better than last year, team talent-wise. But I think last year's team, the pieces fit better alongside Bron and AD. I mean, that's an interesting take. It's too early for me to say that. Sometimes when a team comes together, it takes them a while to gel. So I'm going to give this Laker team benefit of the doubt. At the end of the day, I don't know if after tonight we're number one defensively, but coming into the game, we were number one defensively, which means that even though we do have a lot of room to improve, especially with paint protection, they're doing something right to be number one defensively, right? And so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But the Lakers do have a lot of room for improvement. And I'm not going to make that assessment yet, Brittany, but it is an interesting take. It's food for thought. Obviously, last year's team defensively in the paint was so much funner to watch. This team got us basically complaining a lot. But again, it is food for thought, and it's an interesting take. I'll see if you're right by the end of the season, but we still got room for improvement. My guy said, I'm a Utah Jazz fan, and people are sleeping on our small market team. He said, no one ever pays attention. Our team is different this year. But in order to prove our talent, I'm sorry, I kind of lost the comment there. Oh, yeah, there it is. In order to prove our talent, we got to keep winning. Nah, man, you impress me. The Utah Jazz are flying under the radar only because it's early in the season and teams, obviously, fans don't expect them to be number one by the end of the season, right? It's still a small sample size. Again, like I've been saying, it's early in the season. But real diehard fans like myself who love Donovan Mitchell and actually love your defensive team, I think you have a shot. I definitely see you guys as more of a contender per se. I wouldn't say you're officially a contender yet. You got to keep doing it into the playoffs. But I definitely see you as more of a threat than the Clippers. And I know a lot of people are going to hate on me for saying that because I hate the Clippers, so it sounds like a biased opinion. But you guys have a way better rim protector than the Clippers do. Obviously, Serge is nice. He's decent, but he's no Rudy Gobert. As much as people want to trash Rudy, he is a defensive player of the year candidate every single year. All right? You have a veteran point guard in Mike Conley, which the Clippers do not have at all. You have a sixth man of the year candidate in Jordan Clarkson. You have a good wing shooter and defender in Joe Ingles. You have obviously the superstar that is Donovan Mitchell that only elevates his game in the playoffs, unlike playoff P, or should I say way off P. So I respect your team more than I respect their team. I'll give you that. Am I ready to call them for sure serious contender? Not just yet, because you got to, like you said, you got to keep showing it, and hopefully it translates to the playoffs for you guys. Now, but as far as respect, I give you all the respect. I think the Utah Jazz, it's no fluke that they're number one in the West. If anything, a couple of days ago, I was here defending Donovan Mitchell because of what Shaq said. I'm like, how can you say that, Shaq? He has his team up there in the West right now. At the time, you guys were third. I defended, so I definitely respect. My guy said, if you look at the upcoming Utah Jazz schedule, it's about to get real hard. Milwaukee, he said, Lakers, Clippers, Nets. And that's where the real test starts for you guys, just a little bit. It's still early in the season. But again, you guys have a lot of depth. And I'm sure there's plenty of players I haven't talked about, like the one with the beard, John, what's his name? I forgot his name, but he's Salmons, right? Salmons, he's solid as well. And you have a lot of good veteran leaders right there. So again, only the casuals don't see the Utah Jazz, but us, the expert fans in here in the comment section, and myself included, actually see every single team in the West. And I'll tell you, man, what your Utah Jazz have accomplished this year, no fluke, no fluke. But I do appreciate the comment. He said, I can see the Warriors beating the Jazz or the Clippers in the playoffs. I can't even see the Warriors making the playoffs unless they get Klay Thompson back, because Curry is as great as he is offensively. Defensively, he's not there. Draymond, as great as he is defensively, offensively, he's not there. Andrew Wiggins, inconsistent. Kelly Oubre has been inconsistent. Who outside of Steph Curry offensively can you count on? And who outside of Draymond Green defensively can you count on? You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, I still think they're like a trade away from even making the playoffs, because the West is tough. But I could be wrong. It would be interesting to see the Warriors make the playoffs. I want the best competition to make the playoffs. I'm not a hater. So if the Warriors make it to the playoffs, it would get interesting. I do think they have enough firepower to sneak an elimination or two if they make it to the playoffs. But as of right now, like I mentioned, they don't have enough. They don't have enough on both ends of the floor. You know what I'm saying? And to be fair, James Wiseman, who I thought was going to take the league by storm, hasn't really. He's been in and out of the lineup. He's been injured, and so we're yet to see his full potential. And then also, he's on a team that has superstars, already established players, so it's harder for young players to establish themselves unless you're playing on a very unselfish, really deep team with no pressure on your shoulders, and you just come in and just do your thing. But there's pressure on him because they're thin in the front line. Outside of Draymond Green protecting in the paint, who else do they have? James Wiseman is a go-to defensively. He said, why do Laker fans hate Kuzma? He went to college here in Utah, so I always have cheered for him. He said, also remember him doing very well when he got there. You see, Laker fans, this is exactly the type of reputation I was trying to avoid. Other fans actually think we hate Kuzma. Nah, bro. Real Laker fans love Kuzma. Impatient Laker fans are on the fence about him. They're flippy-floppy, wishy-washy on Kuz, but I always scold them on this here very channel. And non-Laker fans, aka Anthony Davis fans or LeBron fans, some of them hate Kuzma. I don't know why. Great question. It's not for us. So real Laker fans, we stuck by Kuz from the beginning, man. Go back and watch my old videos. You'll see me just defending Kuz like crazy. But this is what I'm telling you guys. Like a lot of those fans that was making petitions, or those idiots that were making petitions for Danny Green and Kuz not to get championship rings, magically disintegrated this year. Because Kuz is balling. I hate those kind of fans. They're so fair weather. Show up in the comment section now so you can look like as retarded as you looked back then. Like, show up now so I can slap you back to where you came from. I want to see that same energy in the comment section. Now we're hearing a lot of I love Kuzmas, but let's be real. A lot of people was hating on him, and I was out here battling, man, like crazy. So that's the type of reputation I try to have Laker Nation avoid. But unfortunately, we have the biggest fan base ever, because we do get some bandwagons. We got mostly loyal fans over here, but we do get there's this new era of fans that follow players, and they call themselves Laker fans now. They should call themselves LeBron fans or AD fans, but they actually call themselves Laker fans, which, as long as they're respectful, we accept, right? To be straight, quite frank with you. I mean, there's no rules in fanmanship, right? You could be a fan of whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. But for me personally, it's all about loyalty. I follow the team before the player, and I've been rocking with Kuz from the beginning, man, from the very beginning. So hopefully you don't get the wrong impression about real Laker fans who are actually patient and always support their players and aren't saying ridiculous stuff like trade AD because he struck it, right? But this is a channel for the diehards. Most of the fans here that show up in the comment section, they're legit, man. You'll find if you subscribe to my channel, you will find that they're actually educated, well mannered. We have one of the best interactive comment sections. I've been to other people's comment sections, and man, they really don't vet that, unfortunately. And that's something they have to do, because if you allow ignorance to start plaguing the comment section, next thing you know, it's filled with trolls and just ignorance, and it's no longer enjoyable. So I will give my fellow Laker fans and my family right here that have been supporting this channel for years just all the credit in the world, because for the most part, they're very level-headed. He said, Kuz has actually improved this year. He doesn't perform good one game and fall off the face of the earth the next anymore. He said, my boy Kuz doing what's asked of him. And that's why we always have to be patient. That's why I've always preached patience on this very channel, because everybody has a different timeline. And you could always see the Kyle Kuzma potential. But for the most part, he's been efficient for us throughout his career. It's just people think that efficiency equals 20 point per game plus scoring. And that's not what Kuz is. Kuz can be that if you gave him those minutes and those shot opportunities consistently. Unfortunately, fortunately, he plays on a championship contender where he's got to sacrifice all that. And as a result, the stats aren't going to look impressive. But to the real basketball, the real basketball player who the fan who watches the games, they know exactly the type of impact Kuz, Caruso, THT, and all the players that don't really show up in the stat sheets. Actually, they're crucial pieces to this team. To this team right here. My man said Joe Ingles and Alex Caruso. Bro, they play completely different positions. But offensively, I'll give it to you. Defensively, my guy's better. But again, completely different positions. I wouldn't really compare them. One's a small forward. The other one's a point guard / shooting guard. But yeah, that's not a good comparison there. He said, I agree 100 DTLF. Real Laker fans are rare nowadays, but we here. No, I didn't say that. Real Laker fans are not rare. Real Laker fans are a dime a dozen, except most of them just stay quiet in the background and they just observe and listen. They're patient. The ones that are on the comment section that are all talking about trade this, trade that, trade that, trade this, those are the ones, man. They're the fair weather fans. But trust me, I don't mean to take a dig at my fellow Laker fans. I'm no better than them. They're diehards just like me, if not more. Definitely not more, but just like me. And so, much love to them for sure, for sure. I'm talking about the player fans. They're the suspect ones, the questionable ones. And I've had some cool ones reach out to me and tell me, hey, man, I respect, I used to be a LeBron fan, but now I'm a Laker fan. When LeBron retires, I'm going to stay with the Lakers. I respect that. It's never too late to jump on board to greatness. They witnessed the way we operate here in Los Angeles, and they're fans. They turn into fans of the franchise. They started as fans of the player, and they'll still be fans of the player, but they'll also start learning to respect the 17 banners you see right there. And, they learn that, hey, this is bigger than one player, right? They learn that and they start embracing it. So I got none but love and respect for those LeBron / AD fans. It's the other ones that are a little shady, the ones that think they could come in here and request trades for everybody, and they have no patience, and they're like, trade Kuz, he's trash. Matter of fact, I got a gripe with Mr. Shannon Sharp. He does this quite often. If a player plays bad, he says some dumb stuff like, LeBron James, he gonna need some help. Like AD got to do this and that. If not, he can go on get. Don't say stuff like that, bro. You got to ride and die by your players, your fellow teammates. Don't start no controversies. Like, this is the only problem I have with player fans. They think when something goes wrong, their player shares zero blame in it, and it's a team thing. You can't win with just one player. You need a whole team. So that's my only criticism of that, and hopefully they learn, because, man, that's a little cringe to hear Shannon Sharp. He was trashing Kuzma early in the season, like, yo, he can go. He said for a bucket of something. I don't remember what he said. But, yeah, I don't like that type of commentary. It's disrespectful to our players, disrespectful to our fans. And it's like, bro, you don't know what's best all the time. I get it. You love LeBron. I respect that. Nothing but love to Uncle Shannon Sharp. But I will say, he got to watch himself because sometimes he comes off as extremely disrespectful to LeBron's fellow teammates. And I think even LeBron wouldn't appreciate that. LeBron's a classy, grade A type teammate. But thank you guys so much. That's going to wrap it up for me, man. Thank you guys. Tough game, but we won it. And that's what matters, man. Hopefully you guys enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday and you guys just have a blast with your family and friends. Or if you're isolated and doing it on your own, I respect that as well. Just enjoy your day. Be safe. May the best team win. And go Lakers. We get another dub. Ugly, but it's a dub. Thank you guys so much for donations, likes. You guys already haven't, please smash the like button on your way out. Helps the channel. And consider subscribing. Even if you're a fan of other teams, my basketball knowledge is beyond the Lakers. Even though it's a Laker channel, if you ever have questions for me or any sort of opinion, you know where to find me. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you guys on the next one.